Hey, sorry about that, bro.
Oh, you're good, boss. Don't worry about it.
And thanks for coming up an hour early. I appreciate that. I just figured I'd be sitting in traffic anyway, so might as well talk to you, you know?
You're good.
California, you know? I'm sure you missed the traffic.
Oh yeah, dude. I hate when I have to drive to Knoxville. It gives me PTSD.
Is there traffic to Knoxville?
Yeah. Once you get close to the city and the freeway splits into like a 5-lane, that's the traffic reminds me of like 91 traffic.
Yeah, the worst. The 91 is actually the worst. All right, so talk to me, bro. How was your week been? We talked about last week, like you'd mentioned, maybe delegating sales, just hard trusting people. We talked about just hiring and firing salespeople. You had mentioned you identified somebody maybe that's worth training. Has anything changed? What's happened? Anything new?
So, to dive right in,
yeah,
I did sit down and speak with my buddy, and I let him know that if he's willing to give it a shot, that we'd be willing to pay him a commission based off of what he brings in. I told him to give me some time to put numbers together, because this is like one of those things, like I don't know how much to pay a sales guy or how much, what's a fair number to throw at him. But
so I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If that helps. Yeah. So just to jump in here. So selling multiple products and services, in different industries, like it's never been, at least in my experience, it's never been one size fits all, because some people look to selling real estate for millions of dollars, right? It's not going to be the same commission rate as like a service job, right? It's just kind of hard to do apples to apples. So for my wrap shop, what I did to make it easy is some companies I do on wholesale cost, just because I can do the math and give them a flat percent based on what they sell, right? But in a wrap shop, you have so many, or a customization shop, right? There's so many different products you can sell, labor's all over the map. So how we did it is, unless they need special authorization for like a bigger deal that is going to be less margin, generally speaking, it's 10% of the profit is how we did it, right? So, if he sells a tint job for $800 and we make 200, you get $20, which is good, but it incentivizes the salesperson to upsell, right? So upsell and hold margin. So like getting in a client to do wrap, to do tint, to do sound, where you're taking that $10,000 invoice and all of a sudden you're making $3-4 grand. Cool. That one job you're making a few $100. That's good money.
Yeah.
Just an example, but go on.
No, I got you. And that's kind of where my mind went, because I mean, like you said, one size doesn't fit all, but all of the sales gigs that I've ever had, I mean, from like entry level to being a seasoned prospect, 10% seems to be like a starting point, at least, just to see kind of what you're capable of, but not enough that you're, how can I say it? Not enough that you're losing money as the one who's employing the salesperson, but it's enough to give them, like you said, that kind of oomph to want to sell more.
Exactly. And then the cool thing is once you've decided on that number, do you know what an accelerator is?
No, I don't.
So, what you can essentially do is, you have a number you want to hit in your business, right? You have a growth number, you have a metric you want to hit. And so what you can do is to kind of motivate that person to sell more is, let's just say, just use a round number, like that number is $500,000, right? They give you $6 million a year, right? Just use that number, right? If that salesperson can attribute, half of it, or like, let's say you already know you're bringing in 300 grand of it, so they have to bring in 200. If they can hit a gross number of 200, you're going to say, hey, guess what? We hit the goal. You're going to get 1% on all your sales when you hit that goal, because your business has now generated enough net profit and gross revenue that you can afford that, and it pushes them to sell more. So little things like that. It's kind of like a bonus, but they see it as, oh shit, like I get 10% of profit, but if I can hit this big goal and help grow the business, now I get to participate in some of that growth. But there's like little things you can look up, and I can definitely help you with. But continue.
I gotcha. Yeah, I offered it to him, and where I'm at right now with him is he's always been a little flaky as far as like when you need him, he's there, but he's just when it comes to the work, the actual labor and getting your hands dirty, me and the radio guy, we work well in unison because we're just trying to get done,
Yep.
and move on to the next thing.
Yep.
He's more of like, he's 23 in today's world. He moves at his own pace, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like common sense isn't that common. So before I gave him access to the system or anything like that, I told him that we're going to see how he does with self-generation first before I pull him into the system and show him, the conversations I'm having with clients and
That's fair.
And getting them trained up on using the system.
That's fair, yeah.
Because he has recommended people. He's brought a handful of jobs in the past 6 months, but at the same time, he's participating in that work because he's the one bringing the client in, and he's getting paid for doing the work, not making the sale, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So if he brings in a tint job, basically he's paying us a percentage to use our space to do the work that he's brought.
Oh, so he's doing manual labor as well, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But if I can get him to a point where he's just solely focused on sales,
Yeah.
because I'm being 100% transparent, the work ethic as far as doing the labor and working on the vehicles, I think he still needs some growing up, if that makes sense. I understand what it's like to be 23, and not everybody's the same, but as far as doing the labor, it's just a lot of like
Bro, 23, bro, that excuse. At 23, I was beginning to build my first business, Like, I was full grind mode, like, So, like, if he's not good, that, bro. There's plenty of 23-year-olds out there that, like, work, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, if people are, like, we had this conversation last week, like, if they're about it, And, like, I get it, like, right now, he's what you got, but I'm gonna hit you with the zinger. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you think it would be easier to find and train a wrap installer that you could check each job going out the door than it would be to find a salesperson?
Yeah,
I know.
I think that would be way easier.
I know, because it's a trade, right? Like, salespeople, it's tough, and you have to put a lot of trust in them. And I know you said originally that you'd rather find a salesperson, but you and I both know that you can bring in all the jobs and close all the deals you need to close, and you can have so basically how we do it is, we do a ton of marketing, obviously. We have some salespeople, right? And we're constantly a closing and marketing machine, but all of the wrappers that we have are 1099 to where, like, they bid out the job for work, and we've grown to like having 6 of them. So, like, and they all bid together, and no one really, like, we don't alienate anybody to be, we're not like that, but the people that are with it, and they have pretty much a full-time gig going. But what that allows Daniel, these other staff members to do is to bring in the job, get the numbers right, take care of the client, and then each step of the way they get to quality control and quality inspect the job, PPF, final, whatever, right? And so before it even leaves, I know for a fact that Daniel does a checklist on all of the car before it leaves, but now it frees him up to work on growing the business, because you can have somebody that wraps the cars and you can go focus. What do you think about that?
That is absolutely crazy. That's crazy in such an amazing way. And one of those things where it's like when you say it, it's like that knock on the head that was like, why didn't I think of that?
Well, to be honest, I thought about it 2 weeks ago when you were talking to me, but I don't want to be the, like, coaching, coaching is still new for me, so, I don't want to come across as a dick either, but I also, I feel like for people to learn, Like you could have just said no, and I would have said okay. Like I'm still gonna try to help you, but for me, I feel like for me to learn, like I need to like come to my own conclusions. And so what I'm trying to do is like let's explore like what you think is best as a business owner, and then if we hit a wall, let's go a different direction. If you agree, let's go explore that, because I think it's way more informative and learning than just being like, no, you got to do this. We got to do it this way, you know, because that's how I learn, at least. Like I need to bang my head into the wall a few times, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to do it this way, you know?
Yeah.
But that'll be my suggestion, because no one can run the business like you. From what I understand, unless you go hire like a f***ing executive, and all of us are replaceable, right? But unless we go hire an executive, no one's gonna be able to do what we do. No one's gonna take care of the clients how we take care of them. We can find that guy, but it's tough. So what is the lowest hanging fruit to replace that you can still have control over and don't have to put a ton of trust? You're in the business daily. You can see whoever's working on the cars daily. You can not release the car until it's perfect, and you give up. You free yourself 80% of your time to go actually do what is needed in growing your business. You know, just my train of thought.
No, dude, that's amazing, because I mean, I told in the beginning, I'm a big believer in, you know, finding the person who's already done what you're trying to do successfully, and trying to get a seat at the table. And I mean, you and Daniel are in the same exact industry that I'm in. You guys are at a much further point. So I like it straight, but at the same time, here's the answers to the test. Just that's it. I like the thinking questions and the stuff that helps me take actionable steps. But I've had coaches that are just like, well, here's what I would do. Go try this, and then you don't hear from them for a month, and it's like, okay, well, I don't have a blueprint or anything, or any kind of starting point. But yeah, definitely a 1099. That's
do you guys W-2 people right now?
No, it's just me, my partner, and the radio guy.
Gotcha.
This is one thing too. My partner, the owner of the business, the guy who built the whole thing, he's on a cruise right now, and I don't know if I told you this, but the radio guy has been with him for almost 2 decades. Yeah, he's like 19 years or something, and I think early a year before I came on, the owner talked to the radio guy and told him, if he does what I'm doing now, which is implementing a POS system, implementing a CRM, being able to track KPI, you know, having systems in place along with social media and a digital presence, he told the radio guy if he did that, he would give him half of the business. Just flat out, sign the papers, you own half of it. Damn. And he never wanted to do it.
What the hell?
He's 47 years old, and he's just like, no, I just want to build boxes, do radios, and service breathalyzers, and that's it.
Not for everyone. And I'm like, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, with my 30%, if we hit $2 million for the year, that's a $600,000, you know, payout. And even then, like, all I care about is keeping the lights on and feeding my wife and my daughter. Like, a majority of what I make, like my take home, invested back into the shop, whether it's you know, paying the ad bill or ordering film that we need, ordering vinyl and stuff, because I want to show my partner when he steps out and when he's finally ready to let go, I want to be first up, so I can be like, yeah.
For sure. I do want to say that, you know, and the reason why I kind of prefer thinking questions and like leading you to like a similar conclusion is because, you know, 1099 is great, but you save money on W-2 in the long run because you get to just guarantee their salary and do volume. You pay taxes, obviously. You have more responsibilities with them. There's pros and cons to both, but for us, we found a lot of success in that, especially because, you know, I think this month we're officially a year old for Orange County, right? So that's how we've built our foundation, and so we've looked at both options. But again, you know, what I was focused on is making sure that we can have people freed up and people are in their positions, so we don't have to wear as many caps. So, you know, the guys that are 1099 that are bidding out jobs that come in and go and do their work, like, we don't have to pay them if we don't have any jobs. Luckily, like, we've been able to keep them all really busy. And this is just like, this off topic, but you know, a lot of the marketing stuff, kind of to your point of like showing, because I don't know how to rep cars or tint cars, and you don't want me to. I suck with my hands. However, a lot of the marketing stuff and things we do, like, I have no problem throwing in or showing up or what have you, or bringing my cars out, because for me, at the end of the day, I tell these 1099 guys, I'm like, look, dude, since you're here wrapping these cars and tinting these cars, like, my cars sit. I take them out to promote the business so I can bring you more deals, so you can stay busy, so you can work, so you can feed your family, so I can make some money. And so while you're here, I'm out making sure I shake those hands, and I do client retention, and I show up everywhere, and I take the phone calls and all that. And so that's kind of where I see you, at least in like the near future, hopefully, is you can find somebody that can wrap these vehicles so you can free yourself to go. Bro, I really can think that if you can get someone in you can QC, I think you can fucking double the sales. If all you were, whatever you focus on gets bigger. So if you could focus on marketing and sales, like primarily, and doing like 20% of your time QC and making sure the cars are leaving good, bro, like, I think it's game over.
Yeah.
I think it's game over.
I would love, like, obviously that's what attracted me to Daniel in the first place, and you know, it helped with AJ being my boy and having a foot in the door. But
yeah, AJ's cool.
You know, it was the shiny object syndrome with like, damn, this dude drives an R35. He has a sick ass Tundra. Like, he had that dope ass Tundra when I first met him. Now he's in a Ferrari. You know, you have the Revolto, the exposed carbon, you know, M car. We have one of the biggest shows ever in our state coming up this weekend, which is Rock.
You got to go.
And that's what, like, I wish I had a sick ass car that I can take out there. I mean, I'm going either way.
You don't need a car.
I'm driving my '93 F-150.
You don't need a car. You don't need a car. And I'll tell you why. You ready?
Yeah.
You don't need a car because the more you show up, the more you shake hands, like, the more that things are going to work out. Because, like, regardless, like, dude, like, there's people that, like, we've done business with, that we've transacted with, that, like, don't drive that dope of cars, but because they kept inserting themselves into the circle and offered value to our business, we ended up giving them a chance, and we were wowed by their service and their pricing and, like, their deliverables, how quick they got it to us, and, like, their customer service, that it was it took them a few times meeting them, but, like, I didn't even know that this vendor that we have drives, like, I think the gayest Bronco you can drive, one of them new ones, you know, like a Bronco Sport, you know. I think it's terrible, but, like, I didn't give a like, he had the service and parts we need. He had them at the price we wanted. He works with, like, our business to make sure the customer's happy, so I was stoked. So, like, you know, even Brandon, he's the tall dark fella that's popping up in Voir, right? Like, he drives a Dodge. He's looking at getting a BMW, right? But, like, he was talking to me earlier. He's like, bro, like, I don't have a sick car like you guys, but people are starting to remember my name. They're starting to, like, know who I'm with and what I'm about, and, like, they're stoked to see me around. And all it is just, bro, like, I think so many people forget that, like, at the end of the day, like, people could be dicks or, like, standoffish. Like, just shaking someone's hand and being like, hey man, how are you? Do you remember me? Like, speaks volumes, you know. It's way cooler than a car. It's like, wow, that guy's cool, I like that guy, you know. And that's what I do, honestly. The cars are one thing, but bro, like, I'm terrible at remembering names, right? But I remember people by things or their cars. So I'll be like, oh, GT3 RS guy. One guy, we talked about weed like months ago. I'm like, oh, weed guy, what's up, you know? And, like, I'll go out of my way to, like, say what up to them. And they maybe they haven't bought anything yet, but if I see them anywhere around town or in our DMs or whatever, I, like, bring that up, and they're like, oh, this guy remembers me. You know, like, how was that thing? Or how is this going? Or da-da-da, you know? And it's, bro, it's as simple as that. I mean, this stuff you already know, but, like, don't get down on yourself about not showing up in a shiny car. You'll get that fucking car. You know, but how many people have you heard of in this industry or any industry that drive a nice car that are just fucking dicks? Just fucking dicks, bro. That don't give a fuck, that people over, Like, bro, a nice handshake and a fucking smile and like actually caring about people goes way further. The car helps, don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've met a few of them, and like out here, the atmosphere is so different out here. Like, we have the mayor of the town next door to us, who drives a badass F-150 Lightning truck, like custom built Lightning truck, and he brought it to have it tinted, and he was like, hey, Billy said that he's going to be gone, but he told me to reach out to you. Is there any way that you can get my vehicle in on Sunday, because that's the only day I'm available? So I could have been like, yeah, let me just put him off and be like, nope, show up on Monday. But I told my wife, look, I'm going to the shop for an hour or two. You guys want to come with me and hang out while I knock this car out? Let's do it. So we do that. And then he looks at the tint job and everything, and he was like, wow, you actually wiped all the water off the door panels. Like, he was like, I've been wanting to bring my R8 here, but Billy's the owner. Billy's such a he's always just so distracted that he's just spraying everything. So that's why I haven't brought the R8. He goes, but if you think you can tint it, I'll bring it down here. And I was like, sure. What do you mean? If I think I can tint it, I know I can tint it. Let's get it in here.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I do 100% believe in what you say, in going out there and shaking the hands and not worrying about the material things that are attached to me right now.
And bro, just so you know, like, people love to tear people down on top. They love an underdog. They love an underdog, right? People try to tear me down left and right, but the only thing that I know is I'm humble and I'm nice, and so it's hard to like tear me down, but that happens. But coming up and fighting and being like, I'm gonna get that car, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna make sure I do right by you, I'm gonna make sure I build my business good, which I did. Like, eventually they cheer for you, and like, bro, I'm cheering for you. I don't even met you in person, and that's so relatable, because the mayor with the cool truck and the R8, he was you at one point, and so like that's relatable to people.
Yeah.
And they want you to win, and they want to, I want to be part of you getting a sick ass car. Like, I want to be part of that journey, And I know it's tough. I mean, I understand, because I have Daniel, and so at the end of the day, like, having someone that is running the business that's so involved, it's hard to get them out all the time because they're tired and they're busy, because it's hard work. He's like, and he's like, I don't know where the you get your energy from, But I'm like, dude, like, we got to get out. We got to get out there. We got to say hi, and like, part of it is just like, hey, like, where the are my clients going? Like, where are they going? Like, where are they? I want to go see them. Like, are they at the restaurant? Yeah. Are they at the club? Are they at a car meet? What cars and coffee are they at? Are they at an event that you're talking about? Like, I just want to go and just have a presence there, just so they know we're there. And then, eventually, like, eventually family, friends, people are like, hey, like, this, I don't know, like, I want to do this weird thing. And you're like, oh, bro, like, let's talk about it. And they're like, oh, I had no idea you could do that. But like, a lot of that comes from back to like, the point we were making earlier of, hey, dude, you could do all of this all the time. We just got to free you up. So, did I guarantee you, guarantee you, if we can get you to someone you can QC, I know you can double your business just based off of your work ethic. I know that you can. You just need someone that can do the manual labor part, so you're not stuck. Because right now you're stuck.
But yeah, I am stuck, because I'm having to do all of the film related work, and it's great to have jobs stacked on top of each other, but then at the same time, I wish I had a better timeline and was freed up to be able to go to the local shows that we have here in town, or the next town over, or like this Rod Run show. Like, I'm gonna go, but I can only go for one day because I have to be back at the shop.
Can you put stickers on your truck though with your logo and
Oh yeah, 100%. I say it's my truck because I've been driving it for a year, but the owner bought it last year as like, he just needed to spend money for tax purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you need it, use it, do what you want with it. If you want to maintain it, he goes, you can take it home and do whatever you want. I've been wanting to wrap this truck for like the past 3 or 4 months.
Get some stickers on it before you go, bro. So when you park it, it has the shop name and the website and all that. That's the best marketing right there. That's the easiest right there. All my cars are billboards. They all have premium and the PPF brand. They have it on there, And the crazy thing is, Bro, we haven't sold one roll of PPF and people are already submitting leads, different shops, different customers, just because of, just going out and shaking hands and being able to work on the business, not in the business. That's how powerful this stuff is. So let's do this. Let's fucking totally change gears. Let's spend time, if you can actually commit to saying, hey, I think it's a good idea, let's fucking find you a tech. Let's find you a guy that can rap so we can get you focusing on the business. That's my goal by end of year. That should be our goal is let's find a guy that you can train and QC so we can get you out of that and focused on bringing in more revenue. Because if we do the math of the time you have available to sell and market versus the time you're stuck working on the car, actually I would do that math. Whatever it breaks down to. If you're doing $2 million a year and you're responsible for $1 million, that's 20% of your time. If 80% of your time goes to marketing and sales, that's $4 million. That's just basic math. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Holy shit. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree. I'm typing it out as you're saying it, and I'm looking at the numbers and just thinking, like, again, why didn't I think of this before? Like,
it's all good. And I understand, too, like, taking it a little bit slower the last few calls because I understand you have an ownership group and you have a partner and you're doing all this and need to talk to him. I get it, But yeah. I sincerely think since a couple weeks ago when you're like, I think sales, I had the same thought. That instant was like, I think he'd be better serviced. I'm not saying never get a sales guy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like the sales process is delicate. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of time. And we need the easiest thing to free you up would be a labor position that it's a trade that you can tell instantly if someone's good or not, or if you can train them or not, or if you can QC them or not.
Yeah, and even if I did bring a sales guy on first, if he's just kick ass and bringing jobs in, and I'm still the only installer, that doesn't. Now that I say it out loud, it doesn't really help.
Yeah, 100%. Well, cool. Let's do that. And you can always text me too if you have questions. But let's just plan on next week you have an idea of how we're going to get that position filled, or wow me and have a guy ready to go.
I got you.
Cool.
I got you, buddy.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you.
Thanks. All right. Thank you again for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Bye.